Hi, I'm FYS, online learning librarian here at UNF. So let's talk about the idea that scholarship is a conversation. First, we need to define scholarship. So there are several things that this could mean, but there are probably 2 or 3 meanings that are familiar to most everyone. Money granted to pay for schooling, activities or achievements of a scholar, and finally, serious study or research of a topic. The study or research bit is the one that I'll focus on in this video. So let's look at this concept in 3 parts. First, sharing knowledge and information. Second, scholarly communication. And finally, scholarship as a conversation. So you'll hear my voice in the animated video that follows. Part 1, sharing knowledge and information. How do we learn stuff? Someone shares their knowledge with us. That sharing could be done by a teacher or professor at school who gave a lecture or asked you to participate in an activity. You could read a book or an article about something, and now you know about it because the author shared that information with you. I might watch someone show me a process on video so that I can practice it myself, or see an event take place in real life or on video. You could listen to someone tell a story or give a speech, and now you also have this information and you can share it with others. You could teach your friend how to tie a necktie, explain quantum physics to your roommate, or describe a scene from a work of literature for a classmate. No doubt you have been asked to share your knowledge, that information you've gathered from readings, experiences, lectures, activities, or videos like this one, whether formally in a paper or presentation for class, or informally among family and friends. Of course, this will continue as you progress toward your degree and in your work life too. Sometimes these requests are simply, tell me what you know. But often, and especially in college courses, we are asked to share what we know and also add something to it. Maybe it's your opinion or point of view on a controversial issue or current event. Perhaps you'll be asked to compare, summarize, or interpret information. Or maybe you'll need to review information on a topic and make suggestions or predictions, or even present a new theory based on what you've learned. Part 2, scholarly communication. What is that? The Association of College and Research Libraries defines scholarly communication as the system through which research and other scholarly writings are created, evaluated for quality, disseminated to the scholarly community, and preserved for future use. So basically, how scholarship gets put out there from one scholar to all the rest. Knowledge from studying in an academic subject or field, such as psychology, engineering, French literature, or American history, to name a few, can be shared in a variety of ways. Traditionally, there have been books and scholarly journals in which scholars and researchers could publish their work. All that gets to the definition that we just had. And other scholars and researchers would find it, read, understand, and interpret this information to inform their own research. Scholars often use that previous knowledge and build on it. We'll come back to that part in part 3. Just so we're on the same page, scholars can refer to professors or researchers at universities or companies, but it can also refer to students. Each of us can be a scholar of any field or topic for school or personal enrichment. Whether it's learning a new skill for your hobby or writing a paper on the Spanish Inquisition after Columbus found America, You are a scholar, and while you may not have grand plans to publish your work just yet, you still produce scholarly materials, especially if we're talking about schoolwork. Back to scholarly communication. Besides books and journals, there are professional organizations that host conferences where scholars can present their work to groups of other people in their fields. But this communication of scholarly information may also occur through informal channels. Some scholars communicate directly with each other in person, through letters, email, or by other means, and others only know each other through the articles or books they've read. Even blogs and Twitter can play a role in scholarly communication. All of this communication can be viewed as a conversation, and it happens in every subject. Part 3. Scholarship as a conversation. So how is scholarship a conversation? Well, first let's define conversation. Most definitions include some reference to informality or speech, but I think we can all agree that there can be a conversation without spoken words. Another thing that the definitions have in common is the notion that a conversation is a discussion or exchange of ideas. In reality, conversations can be formal or informal, just like the definition of scholarly communication. The more formal ways of communicating scholarly stuff, remember that's books, peer-reviewed journal articles, and presentations, are still relevant, and they're not going away, even if they've moved to electronic and online formats. They are a form of conversation in text, orally, and sometimes in images. Think poster presentations or documentary films. Remember this from part 2. Scholars and researchers find previously written knowledge or information. They read, understand, and interpret it to form their own research. Scholars often use that previous knowledge and build on it. That's where the scholar or researcher begins to participate in a conversation. A common way to explain this concept is the crowded room or party scenario. So you walk into a room where there's already small groups of people talking to each other on various topics. You'd like to join in, but you aren't sure what the group next to you is talking about, so you stand there for a bit. You quietly listen, absorbing the vibe of the group and taking in the points everyone makes based on their own knowledge and experience. Once confident that you know what's going on and have something to contribute, you decide to speak. You might summarize or rephrase what has already been said in order to make it clear as to why your own idea has relevance at that point in the conversation. People in the group nod along, disagree, ask questions, and bring up new ideas based on what you said, just as you had done. Someone new joins the group, and the conversation cycle continues. Scholars do the same thing when researching a topic or problem. We figure out what we want to talk about, and then we get all the relevant information on that topic. We digest it and figure out where our ideas fit in. Often, our ideas will build on a fact someone else discovered or an idea that a colleague had. Or we may disagree with someone's theory and provide evidence for why we see things differently. Either way, it's necessary to present the current state of things and let the reader or audience know where our idea fits into the existing conversation and why it's relevant. We print, post, present, or otherwise distribute our work, and someone else comes along later to do the same. The conversation continues in new and interesting directions. It may not be direct person-to-person conversation, but it is indeed an exchange of ideas. One way scholars help each other to join a conversation is by acknowledging those discoveries and ideas that came before theirs. How do they do that? You guessed it, citations. Acknowledging the work of others is a big part of the scholarly conversation. You review the existing scholarship or literature on your cool topic. Will also help anyone with a similar cool topic learn about the background the two topics share. How do you engage in the scholarly conversation? You, as the student scholar, contribute to scholarly conversations whenever you produce some sort of work for a class. Your class is like that group of people chatting at the party. Sometimes your professor sees only your professor sees your contributed ideas. Sometimes everyone in class will participate in the same conversation together. You could even join the informal discussion with professional scholars and researchers by following certain hashtags or people on social media. The conversation happens there too. Before you write that paper or start putting together slides, you have to jump into the existing scholarly conversation. Where you jump and how you jump in depends on the assignment specifications from your professor or perhaps the subject matter. You may need to look at only peer-reviewed articles published in prestigious scholarly journals. You may use only the course texts and your own thoughts. Or perhaps it will be something else entirely. Either way, your process of gathering information, mulling it over, determining where your ideas fit in, and acknowledging the work that came before yours will be the same. And that is how scholarship is a conversation. Hi again, Stephanie here with a brief wrap-up. Thanks for watching my take on the idea that scholarship is a conversation. If you'd like to chat about the library, research, or anything that you saw in these videos, get in touch. You'll find all the contact points on the library's website, and of course, feel free to stop in and visit us in person when you're on campus. So, cheers! Happy learning!